Hi everyone, for our vlog today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the makeup that stood out for me in 2024. A lot of them were released in 2024 and some were released years prior, but I have been actually using them constantly last year. So do I consider this the best of 2024? Maybe, but let's just say because I don't really buy a lot of makeup and I don't vlog about a lot of makeup, but I do have to say that these are the products that I have been constantly picking up in my kit and using in my kit. And there are also a number of products here that have been a surprise for me that took a while for it to warm up into my routine. So let's begin. Alright, and first things first, mist. So I love the Eldridge Skin and Makeup Enhancing Mist. And I love the way that this actually just sprays the right amount of mist on the face. It doesn't really drench the face. I love it. And I love the way that it sits on my skin. And it really does to help me prolong my wake up wear. And also it helps me in applying and blending out foundation or even blushes on the skin. Now, what makes this mist extra special is that it has Film XL in it, and this is the type of ingredient that kind of helps to tighten your skin just a little bit, not overly so, but so if you have tiny wrinkles in some parts of your face. So the Film XL ingredient just tightens, and it kind of creates a nice smooth surface on the skin. And the other thing I love about this is that I can actually use this as an activator, wherein if I have a favorite blush that has kind of dried out just a little bit, I spray a little bit of this on top of that blush and it kind of reactivates it. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that later when we are going to be talking about blushes. Okay, and the other mist that I have in my kit is this Crayolan Fixing Spray. So this is a staple in my kit, and this just really helps me to elongate the makeup wear whenever I am working, especially on set, providing that I do not change the makeup look of the person that I am working with. Now, I don't really go heavy on this. I just put on a very light misting because sometimes I don't know if in the middle of the shooting day or maybe in the middle of the makeup routine I would like to change up something. So it kind of becomes difficult whenever you spray this on the skin to retouch it. So a little bit of this goes a long way, but most especially because I do a little bit of some special effects makeup. So if I'm attaching a beard on someone and I want the beard to stay in a specific look or position, I spray it with this. So this is with me all the time. And next, let's talk about complexion products. So I did buy some new stocks of the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in lighter shades. I love them. It really is a very nice satin finish on the skin. And this is the foundation that I use all the time whenever I am doing vlogs here. So this is my shade. This is in number 6. So this is the one that has olive undertones, and it works extremely well for me, even if I'm someone who has oily skin tones. And the other foundation product that really surprised me at the end of 2024 was when I got the Kiko Milano Holiday Wonderlight Silky Glow Foundation Concealer. Now, I'm not sure yet if this is a repackage of a foundation line in the regular series, so I have yet to go to Kiko Milano to check them out, but I do love the finish of this. It has a very nice silky glow to it, but most of all, coverage. It has a very nice medium to full coverage. It was actually quite amazing, and I was very surprised by it. So I'm hoping that this formula is found in the regular line because it's actually quite good. And the last complexion product that I have here is this Enhancing Tint from Eldridge. Now, I do love this mainly because it's actually very, very light, and most especially it has my undertone in it. So I did vlog about this a while back, so if you're interested to check that out, all the links are going to be down on the description box. So as I've said in that vlog, what you have to know with this enhancing tint is that you have to know what your undertone is, because that will really help in making this tint really look very nice and natural on your skin. Now, even though if this tint is actually very light, it has the capacity of covering redness on your skin, making it look very nice and very even. And I think that this is a nice product to use at this time of the year when it's very cold And when it's also like, you know, when the air is very dry, because this is quite moisturizing, and I love that. It has a very nice glow to it, and I love the finish that it leaves on my skin. Look at that, very nice and very natural. And also very hydrated. I love that. So I have a lighter shade here. This is T5. So this one also has olive undertones in it. And I can actually use this like in my under eye area to act as like, you know, a concealer or a highlight. But I just have to mix a little bit of the color T9 because T5 is actually quite light. It's actually quite neutral. So I think you guys can see like, you know, the olive tones in both of these. So I find that mixing these two shades together can act as a very nice highlight in the under eye area or in places on your face where you just want to add more coverage. And I can also do that here on the bridge of my nose, here in my forehead area. Let me get the other brush that I used and let me blend out everything. Okay, look at that, very beautiful, right? Now, the other product that I love using in 2024 was this Chanel Le Beige bronzing cream. And this is in 390 Soleil Tan Bronze. And I love this, even to the point that I would use this as an adjuster. Like, for example, if I used the skin tint of Lisa, the enhancing tint, and I found that I have a little bit of a tan on. So I actually mix both of these products together, and it just kind of like matches my skin tone very nicely. And as you guys can see in the pot here, we have so much product, so it's gonna last you a very long time. Anyway, so let's apply a little bit of this on my skin. So I have the Mini Kiyaki Sheer Buffer here. I'm gonna pick up some of the product from the pan, and I'm just gonna apply it here on my cheeks and a little bit of it here on my forehead, and let me buff that out. So I love that this has a very nice golden tone to it, and it just works very well with the undertones of my skin. Look at that, it's a very nice and you can glow. It also adds a nice hint of color. It also looks natural, which I like. Okay, next, blushes. I love the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder Flushed. Like, you know, these are highly pigmented, and like, you know, the impact of color that it leaves on the face is just like, you know, wow. But what I love about this is that you can actually like, you know, control how much product you apply onto your skin, and it's actually very easy to blend out. So for example, my favorite color to use is actually this Rosé and Brunch, and it's just very nice, like, you know, warm yet pinky kind of a tone. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this, so just a tiny bit, and I'm going to apply it here on my cheeks. Look at that. And if I'm just going to blend it out, look at that shade. It has a very nice, like, you know, warm flush to it. Very nice even application of color as well, and I love that it has a very nice blurring look to it. It's actually so pretty. Now, the other blush that I kind of like warmed up into 2024 was actually the Unreal Liquid Blush from Hourglass. So the first time I tried this, I was like, you know, a little bit like, you know, underwhelmed because I found it just too dewy. And I also found it a little bit difficult to work with, but I have realized that if I'm using like a cream blush, like, you know, on my skin first, and I'm finding a little bit of some patchiness, or if I want to enhance it further, I can get a little bit of the Unreal blush from Hourglass, and I can put it on top, and it kind of like enhances the blush that I used earlier. But most of all, because it kind of has like this very, like, you know, oily or shiny sheen to it, it acts also like, you know, as a highlight hybrid of sorts. So if you're someone who has very dry skin, this blush is going to be perfect for you. It's just going to add a very nice hint of color, and also that very nice, like, you know, glow that you'll be looking for. And I was actually kind of relieved when I discovered that, like, you know, I could layer on this Unreal blushes from Hourglass on top of, like, you know, cream blushes, because, like, you know, at least I don't feel that I wasted my money with this product. And I was also very grateful that it introduced itself to me in a different way, wherein I can use it, like, you know, on top of other products, which makes it a very versatile liquid blush. And I love that. Look look at the finish that it leaves on my skin. Very nice and very dewy, very glass-like. And again, it's perfect for this time of the year. Okay, so speaking of blush, as I said earlier, I love using the Lisa Eldridge Skin and Makeup Enhancing Mist to reactivate dry blushes. So I have here my old blush from Lisa, and this is in Pink Poetry. And I actually already reactivated it here at the back of my hand. So let me just spray a little bit more of the mist on top of this. Okay, and let me mix it with the spatula here. So as you guys can see, the color has really come out. And if you have a nice airy stippling brush like this, you can just pick up a little bit of this and you can add it on top of your skin. Look at that color. Ah, what a lovely shade, lovely finish. It's very soft, but you still have that pigment coming through. But then again, it's also pink, and I have olive in my skin, so the pink just has a way of really popping on top of my skin. So I am just waiting until Lisa would come back and re-release her blushes into the market, because these are actually very, very good. Look at that, very nice shade. Lovely shade, right? Okay, let's move on. Now, I have no new powders that I fell in love with in 2024, so I'm still using my Laura Mercier loose setting powder, and I love setting my face with this, but very specific, only in my under eye area. And I love using the Danessa Myricks Velour Puff here. It's okay, let me try that here on the other side now. And I find it so remarkable that these loose setting powders work very well on top of the skin tint of Lisa. And then I'm just going to apply a little bit of the loose setting powder on the areas where I want to tone down shine. And it's usually in my forehead, on top of my nose, sides of my nose, and here in the inner portions of my cheeks. Now, Hourglass released this palette early in 2024, and if you were not on the website when this was released, you would have totally missed it. So this one is a palette that has bronzers in it, finishing powders, and highlighting powders, and it's a perfect palette, to bring with you all the time, to do all of those stuff. And this is actually called the Ambient Lighting Edit Bronze and Highlight Palette. Look at that. Look how beautiful it is. I wished Hourglass will bring this back, because it's such an amazing palette. This actually has been in my kit all the time. I never leave the house without it. Yep. Now, in the vein of finishing powders, I have here my Guerlain Meteorites. So I actually love them. The packaging is very pretty. I love that it's now in a tin, and it's very reminiscent of their previous packaging in their cardboard box, where you have this different colored pearls in it. Now, I also love that the colors that we have in the newly reformulated Guerlain Meteorites are very different from each other, because the previous Guerlain Meteorites, the colors are very close to each other, except for the deepest one. And I actually love that we have a variety of colors now, and also undertone. So this one is, I believe, medium. So let me get a buffing brush, and I'm just gonna pounce the buffing brush here onto the pearls, and it just adds a very nice hint of warmth into the skin. Also very nice highlight. Look at that. So it adds a nice hint of dimension without overdoing it. Okay, so let me get another color. So I have here the color Amber, and this one has a very nice bronzy tone to it with hints of red, which I love. And with this brush, I'm just gonna apply it on top of this blush here. It just actually has a way of enhancing blush colors and adding a nice sheen to it, and it really adds intensity that I love, also warmth. Now, the only thing that I am on the fence about the newly reformulated Guerlain Meteorites is actually the scent. So even if I've been using this for quite some time now, I'm still not used to it, and I still miss the previous scent of the Guerlain Meteorites. That very nice, gentle violet scent, because this one is just a little bit too strong sometimes, especially if you're someone who's not fond of wearing musky perfume. And because this one now has a very strong scent of sandalwood, I can't even seem to smell the violet in it anymore. It's the only thing that's keeping me from loving it 100%. But 90% of the time, I still enjoy this. Okay. Now, before I move on to eyes, let's talk about my brows. And I love using these 3 eyebrow products. So I have 2 eyebrow pens here, and I have one fiber brow gel. So these 2 pens, one is a Filipino brand and one is a Japanese brand. Now this is from Strokes Beauty, and this is the color that I actually use to apply individual hairs on my brows. So as you guys can see here, I love the intensity of this, and depending on how I hold the pen, I can either apply a very thick product on my brows, and if I lessen the intensity of the pressure, I have medium application of color here, and if I use very light strokes, I get a very light application of color here. And I use this to apply color to mimic how my natural hair looks like, because I don't want to have a very thick looking brows on myself, because it's just going to be too overpowering, especially that I don't have hair. Okay, next, this is from K Palette. This is the Real Lasting Eyebrow Pen, and this one has a very nice soft brown gray color. Let me try and apply it here, so you actually can't see it. And this is what I actually love to use when I want to apply detailing work, because it's not as obvious as a black pen. So if I want to apply let's say a line to emphasize everything, this will work for me. Look at it, I love it. And finally, the other brow product is this Arch eyebrow gel. What's the full name of it? Arch Brow Volumizing Fiber Gel. And this is in the color Soft Brunette. And the reason why I use this is because for someone of my age, I'm already getting some white hair on my brows. So this just adds a nice tint to my brows, and it covers some of the white hairs that I have there, and it also keeps my brow hair in place. And I just ensure though that I don't really press the spoolie here very strongly into my brows, because it's gonna deliver too much of the gel product. But I just love the way it really adds color into my white hairs on my brows, and I love the way that it just helps me to guide my brows and to put them into position as needed. Okay, love that. And if you're someone who has a beard and you find that you have some white spots in your beard, you can also actually use this to cover that up. All right, and now let's move on to eyes. And I actually have been loving the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Silk eyeshadow bases. So even if they're marketed as an eyeshadow base, these are actually fantastic matte eyeshadow colors that are very neutral, and they can just really act as a very nice base for your eye look. Or if you're someone who just wants to have a one and done eyeshadow look, this is actually perfect to use, because it really helps to mimic the color of the skin, and it just really has a way of covering any redness that you have on your eyelid, or even patchiness. And even with a very thin layer, it also has a very nice brightening effect. Look at that. And it already adds some dimension into your eyes. Can you see the difference between both eyes? I actually love this. So the color that I use is Irene. So it has a very nice pinky brown tone, a nice beigey tone, and it adds a very nice hint of color. And maybe that's just all the color that you would need on a daily basis. I love it. And it also has a very nice tightening effect, by the way. So if you have crepey eyelids, it kind of smoothens it out, which I actually love. And it doesn't add any texture, and it doesn't enhance your crepiness, because there was a time I used an eyeshadow base like this from Laura Mercier. That one, as soon as it set, it added so much texture into my eyelids, and I didn't like it. But this one, absolutely perfect, very nice and very smoothing. But the only thing though, if you are someone who has very, very oily eyelids, try using the NARS smudge proof eyeshadow base before you apply this. And both of these products work in synergy together, just to really add a very nice long wearing eye base on your lids. And the eyeshadow palette that I fell in love with in 2024 is the Danessa Myricks Groundworks Defining Neutrals palette. I love this. Like, you know, these putty shades here were very easy to use. They were also very easy to pick up and blend into the eyelid. And the powder shadows here are very, very luxurious feeling. They glide on effortlessly into the eyes, and like, you know, the pigmentation is fantastic. And because this is a neutral palette from light to dark, this is the only eyeshadow palette you would actually need, even just to apply a very light wash of eyeshadow, and even to as dark as applying eyeliner looks on the eyes. So do get this if you're someone who doesn't want to have a ton of, like, you know, eyeshadows in your collection and you only want to have one. This is it. And also, if you are, like, you know, planning to become a professional makeup artist, like, you know, having this in your kit is gonna be essential, because again, you have different tones here with different undertones, and this can really help you to, like, you know, apply and define the eye look and play with the eye color, because you have warm tones here, you have neutral tones here, and then you have very nice, like, you know, grayish tones here that you can actually use just to emphasize the eye look, whether it's a blue eye color, green, or even brown. I love this. And the last product that I'm going to be talking about is the Rouge Experience Refillable Lipstick by Lisa Eldridge. Look at that beautiful packaging. It's also very weighty, I do have to say. And what's so fascinating about the packaging here is that you can actually have your initials engraved at the bottom of this. But the other thing that's so fascinating about this is that the refill component here is actually made of aluminum and is 100% recyclable. Now, the outer packaging is made of metal, and this is what you're going to keep forever, because it's actually very, very strong. And all you have to do is to buy, like, you know, a different refill component with a different lipstick color, just to suit your mood. So I have the color Audrey here. So let me dial it up. It's a very nice, like, you know, pinky orangey shade here, and I think this is such a lovely color to use, especially, like, you know, during the summer season. Now, the lipstick formula here has a very nice creamy gel type of a consistency, and it actually, like, you know, glides extremely well on the lips, and it applies so nicely. Look how fresh that looks on the lips. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. Now, depending on how much you layer on the lips, you get this very nice, like, you know, full coverage. And if you just use it, like, you know, as a tint wherein you just pat it on your lips, you have this very nice, like, you know, juicy color that comes out. And if you just want to line your lips, you can just, like, you know, use the sharp tip of the lipstick here, and this is what you use to add more definition. The lipstick feels very comfortable on the lips. It doesn't really, like, you know, sink into the cracks, which is fantastic. And that's why you have this, like, you know, gel cream hybrid formula. And if you want to, like, you know, make this any juicier, you can use a lip gloss on top of it, or you can even use, like, you know, one of the colors from Lisa's Balm Embrace lipstick lines, and just to, like, really enhance it. Look at this color. It's very beautiful, very fresh. Yes, so I believe that's it for me today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed me talking about most of the products that really stood out to me in 2024. And if you have any more questions about all of these, please let me know down in the comments box, and let's have a conversation about it. And also, if you do happen to have any of the makeup products that I mentioned today, please let me know what has been your experience with them, how you like to use it, because maybe I might learn something from you as well. All right? Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.